The anxiety is real. Even after losing over 100 pounds, 95 pounds on a GLP-1, I'm still anxious that I'm not gonna get there, that something might change, that something might cause this to fail. Hi, this is Elisa, and welcome to Food Noise Be Gone, episode 15. Please remember to share, like, comment. If you have any concerns about your healthcare or medical care, please reach out to a professional. This is just my lived experience. Thank you so much for joining me. This is going to be my last episode for about the next month. I think I'm going to take at least a few weeks off. I might post some short clips. I will continue to post weekly on my Instagram. We'll get back to it with a life update when I restart the episodes. Maybe we'll consider that season 2. So, anxiety on this last lap, the last 10 to 12% of this journey after losing 35% of my body weight, 33 and change since starting a GLP-1, the anxiety is normal. It doesn't mean I am going to sabotage things. It doesn't mean that it's not working, that I'm not going to get there. But the anxiety, it's super real. It's part of the process. And I have to learn to live in it. So I thought it would be good to share. I'm not going to get to 50% weight loss simply because my goal is 150 pounds and I started at 287. I do not have any thoughts of getting under 150 pounds. I don't actually even know that I'm going to land on 150. That is my directional goal. I would say my range is going to be somewhere 150 to 160. That's what I'm looking at. I've said before, my goal is a size 6 or 150 pounds, whichever comes first. How do I feel? How do things look? What's my body composition? What's my body fat? That's really kind of where we are. So that's all directional. But I have to admit, in this last slow phase, this last 10 or so percent of weight loss, there's a lot of inherent anxiety, and I have to get comfortable with it. I've said I've had to get comfortable with the weight loss slowing. That's really true. I'm going to have to get comfortable with there being probably some completely flat months, not just flat weeks, potentially some up months. I've mentioned before I plan on taking a maintenance break at the end of this year. But right now, I'm in that weird, slow, anxious phase. All the things that I'm concerned about. Will I get to goal? That anxiety about the actual goal, but will I get there? Will I get to be a size 6? Will I get to 150 pounds? Plus or minus? Will I gain the weight back? I have purposely gotten rid of all of my overly big clothes. I've kept a couple pairs of jeans so I can take pictures of, look how big the clothes I used to have at my largest weight. That's illustration or for purposes of before and after, but I have not kept any of my old wardrobe from gain it back. I've done that on purpose so that I don't have the safety net. It's really important that I not just am confident, but I set myself up for success. I've talked about throwing the kitchen sink at this, right? We've hired a weight loss coach who's a nutritionist and helps me with like my exercise and all my habits. I go to obesity doctors that prescribe my medication. That service comes with a dietitian, which is kind of like a nutritionist plus. belong to a support group. I follow lots of social media that shares knowledge. We all support each other in that way from a social media perspective. But there's still the anxiety of gaining it back, especially if I can't stay on GLP-1. What if I mentioned this before as well, I have blood work coming up the end of this week. My doctor could decide I need to stop a GLP. If I stop a GLP, will I be able to continue losing weight to get to goal? Will I gain it back? These anxieties are all extremely interconnected. And when we talk about what if I have to quit a GLP-1, the opposite of that is also an anxiety. Do I have to stay on this the rest of my life? The research and studies would say if you have chronic obesity, which I believe I have, I've struggled with weight my whole life. If you go back to episode 1, we talk the origin story. I'm pretty sure I wasn't just BMI obese, that I actually have obesity. And this obesity is a chronic condition. That probably means I need to take this medicine for life, hopefully at a lower dose, maybe less often, but I probably do have to. I have these little chats with ChatGPT, and I say, "Do I really have to take it?" But, it's helped my A1C be out of the pre-diabetic range. I feel great. I have a lot of confidence. I've lost a ton of weight. I can currently afford it. There's all these anxieties. What if I can't afford it? What if something happens? I'm hoping with all the new medications out, I don't think Fundio or Forglipron is gonna be for me. I have some concerns from a liver perspective, and my liver enzymes are super sensitive, so I don't think I'm gonna convert to that. I don't imagine I'm gonna convert to oral Wegovy, but there's gonna be a ton more medications that come out in the next 5 years, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. I would be happy at the present state, especially at a low dose, to stay on tirzepatide, Zepbound, for the foreseeable future. I hope insurance covers these better. I hope the prices go down. But all these anxieties are swirled around and they're all interconnected. And kind of the last funny, odd anxiety is, will I be happy with my body when we get to that? Not just will I feel better, the health concerns, those are like the top of the priority list. But will I be happy? I get Botox to help with any wrinkles and saggy skin as I lose weight. I started doing that a few months into the journey. But my FYP is full of like people getting their loose skin removed. I don't want more surgery, but it doesn't mean I don't have anxiety about having loose skin. I'm going to the gym. I'm willing to wait for time to let everything settle. I know that the look of what a lot of people call loose skin is simply still subcutaneous fat. I know actual loose skin, on me at least, seems like it's not gonna be excessive. I don't think the loose skin is gonna be overly excessive on me, but I have anxiety about that. I have anxiety about my lower belly. I have anxiety about the loose skin in my inner thighs. I have anxiety about my back. I have anxiety about my bat wings. They really don't look too bad, especially when I turn my arm like this, but when I turn it like that, I have anxiety about that. I have anxiety about the skin under my neck. I don't know if it's anxiety or self-consciousness. I don't walk around anxious. I will wear sleeveless shirts. I'm not so self-conscious that I'm hiding, but it's this weird kind of anxiety. And it really is all connected back to, will we lose the rest of the weight? Will we get to goal? Will we be able to stay on, or do we have to stay on the GLP? There's all of these anxieties, and I feel like even as we're confident in this process, it's almost like the closer you get, the sharper it all gets, and there's this net concern that something's going to go off. The bubble is gonna burst or the balloon is gonna burst or whatever. That that something's not gonna let us get to that finish line and get to maintenance and learn to live in that. That even once we're in maintenance, I think there's gonna be a low hum, almost a white noise level of anxiety. I kinda wonder if that's what it is when people are like when your body's trying to get back, to set point. I've heard it could last be like 5 years before your body settles in. Some people said 1 to 2 years. I just heard something, I can't remember if it was on a podcast or YouTube, but they were like, 5 years. I'm like, 5 years? The anxiety of, will your body settle into this new state? And if you let yourself drift 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, like, what does maintenance look like? Is it staying within 10 pounds? Is it staying plus or minus 5 pounds from, like, your center weight? I don't know. There's all of these. I'm trying not to live in future anxiety. I'm trying to live in the now. The now is, can we continue? Can we lose the rest of the weight? Can we get to a good body composition? Can we be comfortable with where our body settles in? What if I get sick in a way that's more serious? Now, I'm not talking about the flu. I'm talking about something more serious. Having had cancer twice. What if I get sick? What if I lose my job? I can't afford medication. So many things to be concerned about, and I just want to share. I have those anxieties too. I definitely portray confidence in the process. I do believe I will get there. Every morning when I look at the weight, I wonder, especially when it doesn't stay down. I've had the recent low weight of 185.4 pounds, which is just on the other side of the line into overweight BMI. It's like I know the next day the weight's going up. It did. I'm currently like a pound up from that. I know it will go back down. It's okay, but I still have anxiety about it. It's just the day-to-day fluctuations. I know that they are just fluctuations. They're just inflammation. They're just water gain. But doesn't mean we're not still anxious and that anxiety is okay. Anyway, this is a bit of a short episode. I just wanted to share that I have anxieties just like everybody else. Even being this far along in the journey does not mean we don't have anxiety. And the anxiety about this, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be acknowledged, and we can simply say, it's okay. We can set it here, kind of like with the food noise. We can give it space to breathe, and we can move on. I think acknowledging your anxieties, your concerns, your worries are what kind of takes the power away from them and lets you say, okay, acknowledged. I'm going to keep steady. I'm going to stay consistent. We're going to get to goal. Do your self affirmations, whatever you need to do to keep going. That's what I'm going to do. We're all in this both together and on our own, and that's okay. Anyway, I hope just sharing this bit about my anxiety and that I'm working through it will help anyone else watching know that it's normal, it's okay, and we can let those anxieties breathe, we can let them lie, and we can overcome and still get everything we want from this journey and hopefully just really embrace this new life that the weight loss that the GLP has given us. Anyway, have a great week. Thank you so much. Again, I'm going to be taking about the next month off. I'll post updates on my Instagram weekly and fun little clips along the way. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great, great month of May.